Will you guys just get it right this time? Okay. Oh, you're rolling. All right. Yes, hello. Welcome to day 2 at the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues here in New York. The meeting's going on. We've had quite an interesting day, and I'll hand over to Megan Davis to tell us about the paper that we were discussing this morning.
Hi. So this morning we were discussing a paper, a study that I've written here at the forum as a forum member on it's on an optional protocol for the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. So the declaration we know is a declaration of the General Assembly. Well, an optional protocol is an additional ancillary or supplementary instrument that the human rights system uses to better facilitate implementation of human rights obligations and norms. So we presented the study today, which was what would that optional protocol look like, how would it be constituted by Indigenous experts, by states experts, would it be voluntary, would it be confidential? All of these issues were ventilated on the floor, and we got a lot of good feedback, and that will go into a future study, or in fact probably an expert group meeting to be held at the beginning of next year. That's pretty much it.
Yep, so in my presentation on behalf of the National Congress of Australia's First Peoples, we presented information that the Declaration has not been implemented, particularly in relation to governance and greater autonomy for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. In fact, we pointed out that where we used to have Aboriginal community governments in place in Queensland, Northern Territory, but also other states, up to 50 of these in Australia up to the time of the Declaration. In fact, since the Declaration, they've all been mainstreamed into Shire councils, and there's nothing about the structure of these councils that are Indigenous. They're all, in fact, open now to non-Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people to now run for council, to vote for council and so on. So they're essentially trying to turn our communities into main townships. And from that point, I emphasised we need to have an optional protocol in place, as Megan has just referred to in her paper, because there needs to be a process to hold states accountable to be able to monitor what steps they're taking to implement the Declaration, to give Indigenous peoples especially an opportunity to take the issues before that protocol where they're not satisfied about the progress that's being made, and have a little bit more independent arbitration consideration on the outcomes of it all. So we've been emphasising the importance of having this protocol in place. We also suggested that the paper should be further developed, and in fact should be encouraged by the Economic and Social Council to become a greater study which the Council is supporting itself, not just the Permanent Forum, but also the ECOSOC. And so that was the presentation I did today, and I'll hand over to Katie.
Hi, Mr. Moon.
Hi, my name's Katie Kiss. I work for the Australian Human Rights Commission. We presented a paper today on item 3 of the agenda as well, on good governance for Indigenous communities. What we talked about was the Native Title and Social Justice reports for 2012 that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Social Justice Commissioner tables in Parliament annually. One of the findings that the Commissioner concluded in his reports were the 3 elements of governance, which is community governance, where we determine what our decision-making structures and processes are and how we organise ourselves to make decisions. Organisational governance, how we feed those decisions back up to our organisations to coordinate activities, policy processes, responses and strategies on behalf of Indigenous communities. And then the governance of governments, which is how we feed all of that up to government to influence government policy that then comes back and influences our lives either positively or negatively. We also talked about the need for government to build their own cultural competency to ensure that Indigenous people are able to exercise self-determination, which is critical to good governance. And we talked about the need for free, prior and informed consent, which is a key principle under the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, to ensure that we are able to exercise good governance and self-determination, and that government's role is to facilitate and support that. So that was the 2 papers that were presented in today's forum. We still have 2 others to go, New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council and the National Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation. They'll be presenting on this item as well. But tonight we will be attending a cultural event here at the UN, which focuses on presenting and promoting all of Indigenous cultures around the world. We have our Black Cockatoo dance troupe here. They'll be opening the ceremony tonight, and there'll be a number of other cultures from around the world dancing. So we're looking forward to that event.
Okay, thank you. That's the end of day 2 here at the Permanent
Thanks.
Forum.